back. So in this video, I will be talking about the differences between group by clause and the order by clause. So I have actually created some prepared query here just to save time, and I'll be explaining practically here. That way we can actually see how it works. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a staff table here. The staff table, of course, includes the staff ID, which is the primary key, the first name, last name, salary, office location, and gender. Just look at this as a like you have a company, and the company has offices in different parts of the country or part of the world. So you want to have the office location as well. You want to have the salary of each staff and the gender of the staffs, So then I'm going to go ahead and create this table here. Execute. So the table has been created. If I go to the tables list here, refresh it, we should have the staff table in the database. So here's our staff table. So I'm going to go ahead and also insert all this data into the staff table. Make sure I got all that right. So yes, we have all this data in the staff table now, and I want to go ahead and select to make sure we have the data in there from staff. So here's our data. So now this is where the group by clause and the order by clause comes in. First of all, when you hear a new clause or a new terminology or a new mechanism in a language, the first thing is like you have to easily grab a good understanding of whatever it's going to work for. Just try to get a scenario where you need to use it. So now let's come up with a scenario like you have a company that has branch in different locations, right? And you pay salary monthly. Now, in the monthly salary, you want to know how much. If you look at the location here, we have Mary is in the New York, Kemi is in Lagos, Wale is in Lagos, Samson is in New York, Sam is in North Carolina, Mary is in New Jersey, North Carolina, Adelaide, Lagos. So now you want to know how much of salary you will be paying to all your staffs in New York. You want to know how much of salary you'll be sending to Lagos, how much of salary you'll be sending to North Carolina. That way, when the total amount of each location gets there, they can disburse it. So the first thing you want to know now is to segregate the amount of salary you are sending to each locations, right? Now, how are we going to do that? What we want to do is like we want to select the office location, then we want to sum up using aggregate function, sum up the salary column from the staff table, right? Now you want to group by, like, what do you want to group them by? How do you want to know the total sum? You want to know it by knowing the office location you are trying to group them by, right? So group by office location. Now, before I run that, I wanted to see how many New York do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3. That's 3 New York. We have 3 Lagos as well. We have 2 North Carolina. So this query is going to group all this location and give you the total sum of salary. There is a 5,008 in New York, 5,009 in New York, 5,800 in New York. So it will calculate all these three into a sum here, then group them that, okay, this is total amount going to New York. Let's run that and see how it works. There we go. Adelaide, Lagos is actually total amount salary you're sending to Lagos is 17,400. Total amount you're sending to New York is 17,500. Let's actually take a step forward to actually count how many staffs we have there. So I want to use the count aggregate function as well. Count staff ID. Right. So I'm good. Like you see this column, it says no column name because it's an aggregate function. Right. So I can give that as an alias as total salary. Right. So then this no column name will alias into total salary. If I run that now, you will see that. So you can see it's total salary, right? So now it's giving me the number total count of staff in Adelaide. Now I can also alias this too as number of staff. So this is going to give us an error because I alias this as number of staffs, right? So it's not going to run. Even if I run it, it's not going to run. And I'm going to tell you why it's not going to run. Because if you look at the total salary here, I use the word together. Now, if you want to separate the word here, like total salary, I need to use the square bracket. So the square bracket is what is going to give us that independence to actually use, space bar in between alias. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and use here as well. So if I run that now, you will see that the no column name will be given a name as the alias. Now, total number of staffs, total salary, right? In Lagos, we have 3 staffs. The total salary of all the 3 staffs in Lagos will be 17,400. In New York, we have 3. In North Carolina, we have 2. So if I go back to select all from staff. So what my initial query there was doing is it's just counting how many staff we have in New York. 1, 2, 3. Then it gives us 3. So what is the total salary of all these staffs? It calculates 5,800, 5,900, and 5,800 all together, right? So it gives me all the results. So in New York we have 3, and this is the total amount of salary I'm paying people there. So that is how the group by clause works. Now, how does the order by works? So if I select all from staff, if I go back to select all from staff here, right, you can see it's ordered sequentially because of my primary key, right? But I want to order them by the first name, right? The first name this is A here. A should come first. So I can do something like order by first name. So if I run this query now, it's going to go to the first name column and order them ascending order. It's actually ascending by default. If I run it now, it will order them in ascending order. You can see the A comes from B, then the next character. So I can actually explicitly put ascending here. It's still the same thing, but by default it's ascending. But I can also try to run it in a descending order, which means the highest alphabetical character will come first. I just need to change this to descending, DESC. Then you will see how it will flip that arrangement. You can see it comes first. So I can decide to actually order by any of the columns here. I can decide to do it by last name. So it will go to the last name and order those, right? So I'm ordering by last name. Use the last name to actually order it. So that is actually how the order by works. And I hope that actually makes sense. And if you have any question, you can drop a comment or drop a like as well. Don't forget to share if you like it as well. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.